Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I appreciate you joining me on this very cold Saturday night. Small Business Saturday, and the cold air is taking hold in the northern plains, but it's dove all the way south into the central and southern plains. Rocky Mountain West is chilly. Anywhere you see the white temperatures, it's below freezing and holding on to above freezing for an hour. We have freeze warnings across portions of the southern United States. Temperature isn't everything. We have ridiculous amounts of snow out there that has fallen as well. We'll take a look at that and a quick look at your forecast as we begin this version right now. Taking you in just a little bit closer, we'll show you some areas where the real cold air has taken hold. Single digit readings above zero for now in Devil's Lake, North Dakota. It's 1 degree above. 3 in Fargo, Moorhead. We have 0 for Babe the Blue Ox in Bemidji, Minnesota. Some of the coldest weather, though, up by Minot, where it is -8 degrees at this particular hour. That's the air temperature. Now, factor in that old wind chill, and it's a little less than balmy when we take a look at that data. Look at these wind chill values, 20 below zero. Yeah, frostbite can set in on skin in about 15 to 30 minutes with wind chills that are this low, and we have more snow on the way. Now, here is a look at some of the snowfall totals from across the region in the last 24 to 48 hours. And folks, this is just unbelievable amounts of snow, from lake effect snow in particular in places around Erie. We even had a shot of snow bringing some travel troubles to the I-70 corridor through the state of Missouri. Let's get a look at some of these snowfall reports across our great nation today. Now, there's a table form on the left side so you can see nationally what's going on, and some of the largest snowfall totals are showing up in order from top to bottom. These are National Weather Service reports of the snowfall from across the region, so I thank them for compiling all of this data for us. But take a check out of this. Anywhere you see these dark red colors, that's where we have the heaviest snowfall amounts, upwards of 3 feet of snow reported. How about 45 inches in Barnes Corner, New York? How about, Perrysburg, New York, 37.6 inches, Copenhagen, New York, 36.5, and Adams Center, 36 inches of snow. So crippling snow there. We'll go in just a little bit closer and you can actually see. There it is, all off the shores of Lake Erie. Speaking of Erie, let's take a look at Ashtabula and the Erie areas, and we see some snowfall amounts in these areas, upwards of 27 inches, 29 inches of snow right here. That's at Kinksville, Ohio, with some very tricky snowfall travel right off the shores of the lake. Here is Erie, Pennsylvania, 30 inches of snow reported there, 12 inches of snow since early in the afternoon as the storm just continued to dump and dump and dump, and it's got to be no fun. Where do you find places to put all that snow? New York and Ohio. Look at this, 37.6 inches. That's Perryville. Now, as we go up to the north and to the east of that and get up north of in upstate New York, there's another area that is pretty well known for seeing some significant snowfall from these types of systems. Here's Watertown, 36 inches. Adams Center, New York, 36.5 inches right here for the Copenhagen area. So that's a look at the snowfall potential that has fallen there. Look at the mitten of Michigan. Way up north, we got some 1-footers up here to 3 feet, 34 inches here in the Otsego Lake State Park area. It looks like we do have some 19-inch reports in Gaylord, Michigan, 32 inches of shovel trouble in Vanderbilt, Michigan, and the heavy snow continued up there in the last 24 hours. Now, here is a look at the I-70 corridor through Kansas, where the amounts were nominal at best. Manhattan, 1.4 there for you at the college. Now, as we look into Kansas City, Overland Park, 2.8 inches. And here's a report right from Kansas City, Kansas, 4 inches there. Now you get into the Missouri side of the river, 5 inches in Independence, Missouri. Now you follow I-70 across through places like Jefferson City and the capital. There's actually some closed roads in these areas. We'll get to the road reports here shortly, and a quick look at your forecast for travelers home. You're going to be traveling through some very slow conditions with 3 to 4 or 5 inches of snow in and around the St. Louis, Missouri area as we go through the nation's midsection. So that's what's going on there. Let's take a look back at that radar and show you what's going on now. Then we'll take a look at what's going on with your forecast with regards to this as we take a look at road conditions here briefly. So let's get right back to a U.S. view here so we can see. Now let's turn this puppy over to the radar. And if you do have a question, let me know here on Hutch's Weather. I'll do my best to try to answer any of your questions that you may have in mind. Look at the snowfall reports here. Still some unsettled weather heading into northern Kentucky right now. West Virginia and the high country seeing some snow shower activity. Wind in Billings, Montana. Otherwise, the radar fairly quiet across the west coast for now as we head into the evening hours. So travelers, first thing in the morning, here's what you need to know. Let's go to a quick look at the forecast, and we'll look at the roads tonight to show you what's going on. So forecast first, we're going to look at that European model over the nation, and we're going to look at the next 24 to 48 hours here to keep you up to date with what this model is anticipating in its atmospheric calculations. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quickly as we set this into motion for the night tonight. Notice this, near Calgary is a low pressure system. We call these Alberta clippers up here in the northern plains. It's going to make its way through the Rocky Mountains, intensify a bit, and bring a dash of snow to North Dakota. What you see here, extremely cold air is continuing across the northern plains, sub-zero temperatures first thing in the morning. This little snow shot moves through as we go through the mid-morning hours towards midday through the central Dakotas. We'll spread down to places like Sioux Falls, South Dakota before it falls apart. Here's another cold reinforcing shot of snotsicle forming cold that will be in the northern plains. All of the lake effect snow machine will continue across the north as you see a weather wiggle working its way through. High pressure, circulation clockwise, north winds kind of coming out and around from that means north flow. That means on the south shores of any Great Lakes like Superior here, Michigan, we're going to see more lake effect snow problems there. Notice things quieter in the nation's midsection. So for your travels on Sunday, the greatest impacts will be across North Dakota with additional snow. There'll be lake effect snow on the south shores of many of the Great Lakes as we go through the day, with an exiting system in the in the New England states. The snow machine will continue there with that lake effect snow. Otherwise, the rest of the nation very quiet with regards to that. It's not quiet right now. Let me take you to a quick look at some road reports from across the region before we wrap this puppy up. Let me give you an idea of how much snow we're talking to. So before we close this, we'll take a look and go zoom in if we need to some areas for some snowfall potential. Now, again, we're going to keep this on the European model for now as we take a look at the snow moving out of British Columbia, making its way through the Dakotas. We'll produce 1 to 3 inches of snow across parts of western and central North Dakota, central South Dakota. Then it tapers off as we get down into the I-29 corridor, travelers north and south there. Be aware of some wintry travel conditions. Where you see these purple areas, those are enhanced snowfall amounts on the south shores of the Great Lakes. When I take my cursor down here, we can see that some of the snowfall potential values here, 3 to 10 inches of snow, 3 to 10 inches of additional snow in some of these areas. Down from Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, we are expecting areas to see upwards of 10 to 15 inches of snow in a few different areas there. So the snowfall will continue in these areas. This is what's going on tonight, moving into northern Kentucky, southern parts of Illinois, Indiana, as that works its way into Appalachia and into West Virginia and the extreme western reaches of Virginia. So that's a look at your forecast there. Now let's get right to the going on now with regard to roads across the areas that saw these heavy slammings of snow. If you do have a comment, please go ahead and let me know right in the comments here where you're watching from. If you do have a question or an observation, I'd love to hear it from you right there. Now let's take a look at these roads because I got some video right from plows to show you. It's just unbelievable what's going on in and around the areas that are pretty used to this lake effect snow. But if you're traveling in these areas, it's not fun at all, as you got some shoveling to do, and a snowblower would certainly come in handy. Okay, let me see here. Where are we at? Right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this browser. All right, so what we're looking at now is the DOT road condition reports. You can find this on your website. This is 511 PA, Pennsylvania road report conditions right now. And we're in on the Erie, Pennsylvania area. And as we zoom in just a little bit closer, you're going to see some colors on the roads that show active speeds, but there's some very tricky travel conditions. Where we see the red roads here, those roads are completely terrible for conditions. So let's go ahead and take a look at what some of the cameras in these vicinities look like as we're looking on the north and east side of Erie, PA. Let's see if I can get in and see. I'm seeing just lane restrictions there. Let me see if I can turn the cameras on here. There we go. Okay, so here we've got a camera from the highway corridor. Just look at all of the snow piled on the roadside, and the road crew's doing a fantastic job of clearing off this particular road. This is I-90 out there, just not far from Erie on the east side of town there. In Erie itself, we have some ridiculous amounts of snow reported, as you saw. Here's a look at another camera. Oop, that live feed is now down at this particular time, but you can see here Pennsylvania DOT camera showing the difficult travel conditions. Just look at all the snow that's piled up there. So indeed, expect some travel concerns and delays there in Pennsylvania. Otherwise, rest of Pennsylvania now not showing too much of a concern. As we zoom up into New York, here's a look at the New York road conditions and the reports in these areas. You're going to see the most trouble in and around Buffalo, and where we saw the enhanced snowfall amounts in that particular area down here near the Westfield area and Northeast. Okay, let's go in and take a look at Ripley. And in this area, we do have a lot of snow on the roadside there, and the semis and tractor trailers taking a little bit of a break here as we get into the nighttime hours for travel there. Well, we're not seeing a lot of red on the roads until we get up into that Buffalo zone. So let's go in and take a look at that. If you are in and around the Buffalo area on this, well, look at this. So a little bit difficult to see up there. I-90 milepost 431 right now. Thanks a lot to the 511NY, 511 New York there. It's definitely some terrible travel conditions there in and around the Buffalo area. Let's go right into town and see how things are looking. Sometimes the buildings themselves help to alleviate some of that blowing and snowing that's going on. Not too bad there. Look at, that's really amazing to me. With the lake effect snow machine that gets going up there, how some areas can be left looking like nothing's happened here, nothing to see here, folks. And then you get down into the areas where this lake effect snow has really taken a better fetch, is what we call it in meteorology, when the air works its way over the big Great Lake for a little longer. The more it's over the lake, the more water and moisture it grabs. And then we end up with scenes like this, just literally a few miles from the other cameras that we saw. This is New York 400 at the Seneca Street area. So New York seeing some traffic troubles. Now let's check in for our travelers in and around the state of Missouri. Right now, that I-70 corridor all the way from Kansas City, mainly through places like Columbia and on into St. Louis, we have that effect. So as we take you in a little bit closer, we do have some areas where there's some red roads here. These roads are closed, folks, in parts of rural, northern, and northeastern Missouri. Keep that in mind. I-70 going through the state is not necessarily closed, but it's not necessarily fun either. This is a look, well, that's a little hot shot right there. It looks like maybe a light is shining in that. This is a look from the Minnesota DOT camera. This is I-70 mile marker 136 near the Boone area, and you can see the snow. Heavy wet variety here. It's like driving through a slop, right? It's very slickery and slippery on area roads. You get into the areas right in, let's say St. Louis, and this is what it looks like there with snow on the roadside. The main core of the road and interstate there is passable. So there are some travel troubles with some closed roads across Missouri. Let's go on the Kansas City side of the state. Now the snowfall totals on the west side of Missouri and eastern Kansas were a little lower. Here is on the Kansas side of the border. Flakes are still flying out there as we have some unsettled weather. Thanks again. This is the I-70 eastbound looking there at the 61st Street exit. And then as we go on to the Missouri side near Independence, let's go in towards Blue Springs here on the east side of the KC area, and you're seeing traffic moving along pretty well there on the interstate, and we do definitely have some snow on the side of the road. So that is what's going on nationally. We have your DOT looks here. We have some more snow that's going to be affecting the southern shores of the Great Lakes in the next 24 hours. Safe travels to you. I hope you sure enjoyed your holiday weekend. You had I hope you had a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving holiday. I sure appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to join me here on Hutch's Weather. For now, you can always get the latest on hutchesweather.com, hutchesweather.com. I'm based up here in the Northern Plains, but you're welcome to check out hutchesweather.com to see the very latest and what's going on there. When you are on the site, you're going to have some links to several Northern Plains DOT sites, which is very handy. And also, you can upload your photos of some fun events going on across your area and the travels that you are seeing. Notice here from the viewers in the Northern Plains, this view in Minnesota, taken outside of Twin Valley, Minnesota, with some northern lights just really lighting things up on Friday night as we went through Black Friday. Things were anything but black in the skies over Twin Valley. Melissa, thank you so very much for your photo. For now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Safe travels to you. Again, check and know before you go with your local road conditions at the DOT sites, and safe travels. Slow it down and stay out of the ditch if you can, and have a wonderful